Let's begin today with Ohio Republican Congressman Mike Turner.
Well, I think there's going to be a lot that has to be shaken out here. And we certainly are seeing, I think, some reaction now in China also. That means that, the president's goal is that these nations of which, he's putting tariffs on the table and tariffs which are a punishment for having behaved poorly, taking advantage of the United States economically, will come to the table and negotiate better economic deals than the United States has been experiencing. Those deals are beginning to be offered. The White House is beginning to negotiate those. China is beginning to signal that they're willing to come to the table. So, even though the president is making those statements, at the same time, we're seeing that the president taking that step of saying, we want a better economic deal is beginning to work. I think we're all concerned of the effects on the supply chain, and certainly we've got to make certain that this works through the entire processes, and that we are concerned of the effects of the economy. I think the president's going to be looking at that. Congress is going to be looking at that. But the real concern here is that we do have to look long term as to how this protects our overall economy. The goal is simply stated that we do not have a nuclear Iran. And certainly the president is leaning strongly in that. From his first term, with the maximum pressure campaign, the president was clear that, both in non-nuclear Iran and also making certain that we have that the nefarious activities of Iran working through their proxies, the terrorist groups and organizations, that be stopped. So the president is very strong on an anti-Iran policy, including ensuring that there not be a nuclear Iran. Well, I think we have to see what the deal is. I mean, currently there's just ongoing negotiations. We'll have to see how that evolves. We'll have to see what those terms are. As it evolves, we'll have to see what those terms are and really what is achieved. And certainly there's a role for Congress to play as that goes forward. But I think we need to give them the opportunity for success. The function of the National Security Council is to ensure that the President of the United States has the greatest information possible. And Mike Waltz has an incredible background and experience. He worked diligently to make certain he had a strong role in the national security team of the president. And I'm certainly glad that he's going to be retained and staying in a strong role in this administration. Working directly with world leaders and heads of state is certainly an important role as the national security advisor to the president. And certainly, I think even as UN ambassador, he'll continue to do that type of function. Marco Rubio, from a policy perspective, is very strong in this administration. His signal of it being in this position sends a signal of continuing the same policies in the administration. From a Trump team policy perspective, him taking over this sends a signal of continuation and strength. That's excellent.
But the policy
now we've got to give him the opportunity of, is he going to be able to build out the team in the National Security Council? And that's certainly hopefully that he'll be able to do so and build out a strong team there that represents really the opportunity to support President Trump and giving him the information and knowledge and the access to information and knowledge that he needs. Well, at the same time, there does have to be loyalty to the president. I mean, we saw in the president's first term that the president was betrayed during the first Trump impeachment by individuals who were at the National Security Council. So Trump personally has an understanding that you have to have people at the National Security Council that are on Trump's team, and the National Security Council being directly working with him and being in the White House. It's very, very important that they be personnel that work for and on behalf of the president. Their testimony was proven not to be accurate, that the president was not tying aid to Ukraine to the investigation.
The premise of the impeachment, but
the president needs to make certain that he has staff that are supportive of him in the National Security Council and his policies, and make certain that they're providing him information. This is the heart of what does the president know that our adversaries are doing.
Right.
When he's dealing with Russia and policies with respect to Ukraine, he needs to know what Vladimir Putin's doing, and that's coming directly from the National Security Council.
Noted.